The rains that we've had across much of Oklahoma over the past week have given us some hope that the summer annuals that we may have planted, perhaps in many cases after a failed wheat crop, that those summer annuals will come up and grow and provide us a hay crop to be used this fall and winter for our cattle. We also know that in Oklahoma, sometime before the summer's out, we'll have hot, dry conditions that will stress those same plants. And on the cow-calf corner, we'll be talking about nitrates as a potential problem that can occur in those summer annuals. Well, I thought today we'd review the concentrations of nitrates that cause problems in cattle, so that as you're testing those plants before you harvest them, you have some idea of the relative toxicity that might be taking place in your particular pasture or field. Nitrates are generally measured as the nitrate ion in parts per million. And when you get a report back that is something between 0 and 3,000 parts per million, most of us would consider that safe for all cattle. Then as we go from 3,000 to 5,000 parts per million, we may see a little bit of a decrease in milk production in our beef cattle. Most people probably won't notice it. Once we get to 5,000 parts per million and then moving up towards 10,000 is when concern really begins to develop. Between 5,000 and 10,000 parts per million, data has shown us that we can have a few short-term abortions occur due to nitrate toxicity. They're probably rare, but they can occur. As we get closer to 10,000 parts per million, then we're in that danger zone where abortions are more likely, and once we get to 10,000 parts per million, we know that it is possible for the nitrate concentration to cause death in the livestock that are consuming those kind of forages. The lowest concentration of nitrates that is reported to have caused death in cattle is between 9 and 10,000 parts per million. So that's why most laboratories will use 10,000 as the cutoff point of the lethal amount of nitrate in the forages that are being harvested. I thought this review would help you get a little better understanding of why we have concern about nitrate concentrations in some of these summer annuals that we're planting and growing right now. Certainly they can provide a large tonnage of forage in a fairly small area, but we must pay attention and test those crops before we cut them for hay so that we're not putting away a toxic level of a feedstuff that we'll be using next winter. Hey, we'll look forward to visiting with you again next week on Sunup's Cow-Calf Corner.